Alright guys, I've been watching some videos the last couple of months, seeing what's going on in the nitro world, and stumbled across Muggy Maniac, putting out some of his stuff. At first his stuff was pretty entertaining, but I kept listening, thinking some of this stuff is off the wall too. So this video, Muggy, since we all know I don't have no subscribers, maybe 5. If we can get you to come over and see this video, it's for you. And maybe I can teach you something today. We're going to talk a little bit about the slide carburetor and how it works. I'm not going to overwhelm you guys today like Muggy likes to drawl on for an hour. Hey Muggy, a little advice on teaching. Stick to one point. Let everybody soak it in and then move on. Let me see if I can get my camera down in there. There is a gap there. Muggy, you're right. If you get a paper clip, that's about as far as it gets. But one thing about this, it's a throttle stop. Slide stop, so when your throttle goes back, it stops. That's what the factory basically is telling you. The gap or your slide has to be open to keep this motor running. It should never be touched. You should never have to touch it. Experts very rarely touch it. So, let me turn it on. Where's my, oh, here we go. I want to show you real quick, and I'll explain some things. So, when the carburetor, like you said, hits the brake, you hit the brake, carburetor slams shut, the throttle stop keeps it from shutting all the way and cutting all fuel off. Correct? We agree on that, I believe. But, on the top end side, we have a, as we all know it, air-fuel mixture. Muggy, air-fuel mixture. Let's get this. Air going into the venturi, into the carburetor, into the motor. Correct? Well, what happens if you open the carburetor and you go way past? What are you doing? You're flooding the carburetor and motor on the top end. The reason I say this, we wouldn't have any venturis. We would never have to change venturis. It's a air-fuel mixture. When the throttle opens, it has to be exactly the same as your venturi. Or what we were talking about in your, I believe is referencing in your video, we are talking about what we call run-on. And what run-on is, calls from, is when your slide slams shut on top end, or when you're wide open. What happens is when you're wide open, your slide goes past the venturi, you're giving it more fuel than the venturi can bring in air. Period. Easy, easy. So what happens? You're not getting enough air for your fuel. So what do? You lean it down. Then the motor don't run right. So you're fighting yourself. So you have to put the slide even with the venturi. You put a bigger venturi in it, You can open your slide up a little further. That's how that works. Simple. Simple things. Simple things. You know, Muggy, you're always waving your hand, saying facts this, facts that. You need to quit preaching, my friend. Because when you say, Rick told me, Bodegel told me, they told me. You're preaching, my friend. They told you. You're passing their word. You have no idea. You haven't experienced it. What you're doing is taking advantage of YouTube and their knowledge and passing it by preaching when there's so much more in depth about the whole deal. So many different scenarios. You know, I look at these comments and people get these 1, 2, 3-liner comments. That's not possible, guys. There's too many scenarios involved with one thing to give a yes or no answer or do this. All these components, guys, work together. First thing, air, fuel, combustion. You know, putting the power to the ground. Everybody talks about the motor screaming. That is hilarious. Motor screaming. It's screaming. You know why it's screaming? You probably got it under gear and it is screaming its lungs off. You're probably right. It's screaming. They're going nowhere. Look at your manual. See the RPM range. Get it on attack. Know where your power band is. These are the things that are next level, Muggy. If you call yourself next level because you can go buy a modified motor from somebody, you got it all jacked up. Next level is getting your car running properly, consistent, knowing everything you do to it and what it's going to do before. You know, I was helping Muggy out a little bit. I'm sorry, Woogie out a little bit. I'm thinking ahead. I'm hoping he'll take a little bit of my advice, a little bit of other people's advice, puts it all together. He's a pretty smart guy. His learning curve is going to be high because he wants to know who's doing what. The slow guy, the fast guy, so he can make his intelligent decision. Props to him for learning. Learning, that's learning. And there's a niche. So what he's learning, there's other guys that don't know as much as him, and they need to know that. Because the stuff you may be saying is overwhelming to them, but they understand what Woogie's at, where he's at. In the meantime, he's helping somebody out. He's being helped from other people that are experts. So there's nothing wrong with that. But back to what I was saying. What I'm hoping Woogie's going to call or put over there, man, it hooked up, then all of a sudden, something happened to my clutch. Well, I know ahead of time what should happen to that clutch. Do you know what should happen to that clutch? I'll give up the secret. Do your research, Muggy. Research? Do it. Do this one. Then you let me know what's going to happen. Because I do. That's next level. Knowing the adjustments that you're going to make, what they're potentially going to do. Not see. Well, here, let me put this on. I bought this out of the magazine. Let me put this on and see what it does. It's ludicrous, man. talking about the needle, mid-range needle. Rick told me never to turn that. You know why Rick's telling you that? Because I bet you he don't think you're worth a shit as far as, I'm not speaking to Rick because I don't know. And I'm not putting words in his mouth. But I'm guessing he told you. Did he tell you why? Do you know why? I can tell you why. And that leads me, before I get to that, the next point. Turn your needles. Go back to Seth's room. Do this. You know what? You got a bunch of newbies in there turning their screws down, and they're probably going to do them at the same time if they're trying to learn and trying to do things in order. They're probably going to screw both in at the same time. Do you know what happens? Yeah, the needles bottom out. Puts a dull point on the needles. Ruins your needles immediately. You've been told. Rick probably doesn't tell you because you ain't going to understand. You're right. You don't turn the mid needle. Because if you don't know what you're doing, you can damage them. Not necessarily get them off tune. It's the damaging part. Another one. Pass this on. Help your guys out because you just put the video out on the needles. So you need to go back and update it. And tell them, when you turn the needles in, which I don't suggest because you're breaking seals, you're turning rubber seals in more than they need to be turned. They already take enough abuse with the heat. But if they just have to because they've been jacking with it so long, if they have to turn them in, they need to do them one at a time. First of all, unscrew them all the way. Not out, but all the way. You know, flush, at least flush, more than flush, I would say out. Then turn one needle at a time in until it, bottoms out, and then back it off. And then do the other side. But please, guys, or please, Muggy, pass that along to your subscribers because I have 5. Nobody's gonna see my stuff. We know that. But hopefully, you can take it, the criticism and the advice, and pass that on. Like Don Foss said, I ain't in here to promote it. I'm old school. I'm 51 years old as you are. I've been around the block. And I have a lot more proof, facts, and evidence that you're going to say, I better shut my mouth. I don't give a shit about blowing up on YouTube, but I will tell you when you're wrong, like you want to tell somebody else they're wrong, and tell them, man, quit putting videos up. Quit putting videos up of him doing things. The man done told you that his family watches that. I believe he said Canada maybe, or upper north. And his grandson, his grandkid, or grandkids, they want to watch it, their grandpa. And maybe they don't get to see him and visit him a lot. So you like to see what Grandpa's up to. And you go tell this man not to do that. That you're not going to help him if he does another video. You lost your fucking mind. And I don't have to watch my language. Because you know why? I don't have no subscribers. And I doubt any kids are listening. You lost your fucking mind. Get out of your fucking basement cave. Smell the roses. Wake up. I'm out.